right, folks, we are back here on WLTH 1370M. That is 92.7 in the FM dial. If you're nasty, yes, it is 6:49 in the PM here on January the 30th, 2026. The future's here. The future is now. Yes, it is. And one man who I think the future might be looking a little bit up for is somebody we've talked about on this show before because he has been in the middle of so many controversies in our society, in our culture. He's been lauded, he's been applauded, he's been condemned for his outspoken nature. I am talking about Ye. Ye. The artist formerly known as Kanye West. This week he actually took out a full-page advertisement in the Wall Street Journal called "To Those I've Hurt." And in this advertisement, this letter, he publicly apologized for years of offensive remarks and actions, particularly his racist and anti-Semitic behavior. He talked about how his conduct has been linked to his mental health struggles. He said, "I lost touch with reality, and that a period of undetected brain injury and bipolar 1 disorder contributed to his erratic and reckless behavior." Now, anybody who knows anything about Kanye West knows that before he got famous, he was in a horrific car crash. He made a song about it called "Through the Wire." And you see pictures of him afterward, how his face was just completely blown up. He was in L.A. working with, I think, Jay-Z at the time. And it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning or something, and he falls asleep while he's driving home from the studio. And he actually crashes into somebody else. And he was he suffered really tremendous damage. If you ever see the video, you can watch the video on YouTube called Kanye West "Through the Wire." And he actually rapped the song with his jaw wired shut. And so that was sort of the first time we ever saw Kanye as a rapper. It was a song that he rapped with his jaw wired shut, and after his horrific accident. And he's saying that he continued to he had a undetected brain injury from this accident, and he has bipolar 1 disorder, which again, I've been saying this for many years, that there was obviously something wrong with the man. He wrote that a 25-year-old car accident caused damage to his brain that hasn't properly been diagnosed until 2023. And that this oversight affected his mental health. He described a 4-month manic episode in early 2025 marked by psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that he said destroyed his life. In the letter, he said that he regrets and is deeply mortified by his actions and acknowledged their harm. He emphasized that the explanation of mental health struggles does not excuse his behavior. He specifically apologized to us in the Black community for letting us down, and he said he's committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change going forward. He said that he feels genuine remorse, that it's not a publicity move, and denied it was time to boost his career around a upcoming album. He asked for patience, understanding, and forgiveness, acknowledging it would take time to rebuild trust. His controversial actions he addressed included using Nazi imagery and selling swastika-themed clothes, his praise of Adolf Hitler and other anti-Semitic posts on social media, his public anti-Semitic and offensive rhetoric that led to major fallout, including brands like Adidas severing ties with him. A central part of his apology, it was his linking of mental health, misdiagnosis, and untreated bipolar disorder to his erratic and harmful behavior. He discussed how mania can distort judgment making someone feel powerful, certain, and unstoppable while losing touch with reality. Now, it's important. A lot of y'all may not know who he is, especially if you're an older person. But if you're under 50, you definitely know who Kanye West is. You know, some of the things that he did over the years, obviously hijacking the MTV Music Awards when Taylor Swift won an award just to tell everyone Beyonce had the greatest video of all time, which was funny at the time. You know, at the time we thought it was just funny. You know, Beyonce herself was pretty mortified. Over the years, it sort of progressed from stuff like that, complaining about award show victories, to, you know, out and out embrace of racist and anti-Semitic views. He posted images combining a swastika and a Star of David, which led to suspensions from many social media platforms. He sold merchandise, including a white t-shirt emblazoned with a black swastika that many saw as glamorizing hateful symbols. He publicly praised Adolf Hitler, calling him fresh, and at times declared that he loved Hitler during social media rants, using language that is widely condemned as anti-Semitic. Last year, he released a controversial song called Heil Hitler, featuring Nazi speech samples, which led to a significant backlash and even Australia canceling his visa. He posted conspiratorial ideas suggesting that the Jews controlled the media. That's not really a conspiracy theory, but that's neither here nor there. And questioned whether anti-Semitism was a real concept. At Paris Fashion Week, he wore a White Lives Matter t-shirt, a slogan associated with white supremacist movement. He was banned from the future Grammy Awards event. He ended partnerships with Adidas, The Gap, Balenciaga, and countless other entities due to his anti-Semitic post. Obviously, slavery was a choice. Oh, man. Slavery was a choice. I remember when that came out. I mean, people were pretty much, like, apoplectic after he said that one. Obviously, his support of Donald Trump and MAGA included wearing a Make America Great Again cap and defending conservative politics, which polarized many fans and critics. He terrorized his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. I do not have the greatest esteem for Kim Kardashian or her, I believe, grifter family. But I will say one thing. She loved that dude. Like, she stuck with him a lot longer than 90% of women would have. And she has her own money. She's a billionaire on her own. She didn't need his money. She stuck with him as long as she could, but the man was obviously not all there. The man was obviously dealing with bigger issues. He terrorized his wife and her ex-boyfriend. He once urinated on a Grammy Award in protest, an act that many saw as disrespectful to the music industry. You know, ultimately, you know, he burned a whole lot of bridges. And the whole time, I've talked about Kanye on this show before. I've said, look, the guy is obviously unwell. Why are people continuing to platform this man, knowing he is not well? And so, to me, I don't just blame Kanye, though I do blame him for a lot of it. You have no choice. But if you go on a bus, a city bus in Chicago, and you go grab a homeless person who's suffering from, you know, schizophrenia, and you put a microphone in front of them, everybody would say you're a monster for platforming somebody with that level of mental illness. That's who Kanye was. I've been telling y'all that for like as long as I've been here at this station. Almost 10 years. This guy has obviously been unwell for a very long time, and people put microphones in front of him. They amplified his messages. They took advantage of him. Somebody who is obviously unwell. And it sort of goes to show you why so many celebrities end up falling into the abyss. Because when you're rich, when you're famous, people will let you destroy yourself. They let Michael Jackson destroy himself. They let Elvis destroy himself. They let Prince destroy himself. They let Kurt Cobain destroy himself. They're letting Britney Spears destroy herself. Her father actually tried to put a stop to it, but all the people said, you're holding Britney back. That woman's going to be dead very soon if somebody does not intercede and do something about her. She's on social media regularly, dancing around with knives and talking about how depressed and sad she is and looking like a zombie half the time. She's going to be dead soon if somebody does not do something. And I had a great fear that Kanye would not make it through this because they were letting him destroy himself. But I'm glad, I guess, the wife he has now, she seems to have gotten him on the, gotten him to tone down some of the more manic and sort of the psychosis in him has gotten him to seek some real help. Because that's a father. That's a man who has children. I want him to be around for his children, for his grandchildren, whatever. He's was a brilliant producer. Outspoken in so many different ways at the beginning, about so many, social issues, especially during Hurricane Katrina, when George W. Bush let all those people, mostly black, drown and let the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers off the hook for building faulty levees, and then, drop the ball with FEMA. George Bush doesn't care about black people. That was the message, and something that people in America needed to hear at that time. And so hopefully Kanye can get back to that who he was, before the drugs, before the mental illness really took over his life. But I think it definitely serves as a lesson that, once again, Hollywood, the music industry, the media, the enablers will allow you to destroy yourself. And if you don't have strong people around you in your family, if you don't have people who aren't afraid of being cut out of your life and being cut off from money and don't depend on you for their fame and their success, who are willing to tell you, you really need to go get help, you can end up in an abyss that you don't come back from. And so I think we should definitely, understand what the mental health issue he was dealing with. But also we should hold, I believe, a lot of these media people accountable for platforming him. And a lot of people in the music industry who continue to take advantage of him, obviously knowing he was in a really bad state, and yet continued to work with him and leech off of his fame and money. That is reprehensible. A lot of people got a lot of content out of Kanye, out of the hate of Kanye, out of, the circus act that was Kanye. And those people, in my opinion, a lot of those people need to be drummed out of the media space more than anything. All right, folks, that was very serious. God bless Kanye. Hopefully he's getting the help, some real help this time, that he needs to be the husband, the father that he can be. And shame on everybody who's taking advantage of somebody who is obviously ill for clicks, for likes, for content, and for fame. And for money, of course, obviously. All right, folks, when we get back, it's time It's time to lighten the mood a little bit because we talked about some really serious stuff in this first half of the show. It's time for some happy happies. We'll be right back after these here on Straight Out of the Cannon with me, Scott Cannon. Don't go nowhere.